for our Spanish-speaking parishioners.
Buenas tardes a todos, gracias por acompañarnos en esta tarde, agradecemos su presencia aquí en la tarde de hoy. Estamos aquí unidos para tratar de asegurar que la iglesia Most Holy Redeemer se mantenga abierta y activa para generaciones futuras. Es un momento, el peligro es inminente para la iglesia, las misas no están conduciendo misas ya, y el peligro de demolición está siempre en pie. Y el patrón lo conocemos, la ciudad ha estado cerrando y demoliendo iglesias en toda la ciudad, y no podemos permitir que esto suceda aquí.
This structure is more than just a building. It is a vital piece of our community's soul and a testament to the faith and history of those who came before us. Constructed in 1852, with significant alterations in 1913 that shaped the breathtaking edifice we see today, this church is a historic landmark in its own right.
La estructura es más que solo un edificio, es una parte de nuestra comunidad y es un testamento a la fe y la historia de los que vinieron antes que nosotros. Construida en el 1852 con modificaciones en el 1913, esta iglesia es un monumento histórico.
Today we stand together requesting two things: the immediate reopening of our church for worship and the formal designation by our city to landmark this historic structure, ensuring the building's future is protected forever. Your presence strengthens our resolve. Together, we will save Most Holy Redeemer Church.
Estamos aquí para pedir dos cosas: la reapertura inmediata de la iglesia y la designación por parte de la ciudad de este edificio como un monumento histórico para garantizar su futuro. Juntos salvaremos a la iglesia Most Holy Redeemer. Gracias.
Thank you, Juan. I would now like to just share a few words about what's going on. So the church has not officially been closed by the Archdiocese. It's just locked. There has been no decree of relegation. There has been no merger of the parishes. Because of this, the church and the Archdiocese are obligated to hold 2 masses a month at this church, and they're failing to fulfill their parochial duties. So the parishioners are working with Mr. Brody Hale, who is a civil lawyer with much experience in this aspect of canon law. He is affiliated with an organization called Save Rome of the West and has saved over 20 churches. So the parishioners have sent letters when they're supposed to, documenting this failure to do their duty, the Archdiocese failure to do their duty. And we're going to have a parishioner, Cheryl Yanossi, come and explain canon law for pedestrians. Cheryl, come on up and join me, please. So you all know what's happening.
I have 2 minutes, so here we go. Canon law. For those who don't know, the definition of canon law is the codified law governing the church. And like any laws of governance, these laws have to be adhered to. If they are not, then clearly the law has been broken. In our particular case, certain codes of canon law have not been adhered to. Here's just a little background. Most Holy Redeemer is still a consecrated church, period. It still exists, but the doors remain closed and no activity such as approved liturgical masses or the offering of other sacraments have been performed. Before a church can be permanently closed, a canonical decree must be issued. No canonical decree has been issued. The Archdiocese of New York is violating Canon 934, by failing to hold at least 2 masses per month in the church, as this Canon Law 934 requires. The Archdiocese also refused to allow the celebration of Mass in the church on the anniversary of its dedication. That's a big deal, because it's like an anniversary, a birthday, again, as canon law requires, alleging safety concerns without evidence to substantiate those safety concerns. In other words, there's a little cracking in the ceiling way up in the corner, and they're making it maybe more of a big deal than it actually is. An appeal against some of these points is moving forward under canon law and via the advice of our friend attorney, Mr. Brody Hale. Additionally, letters from the lay faithful have been written and sent via certified mail and or hand-delivered to Cardinal Dolan, asking him to kindly open the church. No one has yet received a reply from him. That's our update. Thank you so much. And just to edify, the canon law is the crux of this. This is the bread and butter. This is what we actually have to go on. So we're hoping for the best. Once a decree has been issued, which could be any day now or any year now, then we move to the next step. So there we are. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we were going to speak about the finances just a little bit, because that's another big question everyone has. There's never any money for Catholic churches, especially neighborhood, parish, historic Catholic churches, but there is. Because when Nativity was sold for $40 million for a private developer, and the parish was merged with Most Holy Redeemer, there was a fund set up, an endowment of sorts, the interest of which is plentiful, more than enough to pay the expenses of this church. We've been told this, reminded of this, at 2 public meetings held by the Archdiocese, at one here last summer of 2024, and one at St. Bridget's as recently as July. So we know this is true. So if there's a problem with a little piece of plaster that fell, and that's all it is, it's dry, it's not leaking, and if maybe it needs a new roof, there's money for that. And that is no excuse for closing this incredibly beautiful and important church that has served this neighborhood since 1852. I'd now like to bring up Bernie, who's going to speak to us a little bit from his perspective.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bernard Connaughton. I live right there across the street. And I've lived here for almost 40 years. And really what I want to say today is that, sorry? Yes, I teach religious education to the confirmation students, which is 8th, 9th grade. So, I mean, I really tried to think about what I wanted to say this morning, and I guess what I really want to say is that this is a magnificent structure, and by in itself, it's magnificent. If you've ever been inside, even on the outside, it's very remarkable. But it's also a spiritual home for many of us, and so I was a parishioner at Nativity when that was closed and merged. So I moved over here. And now this is happening here. It's being, it's closed, and what's the next step? It seems like what the pattern is the church is closed, the church is merged, and then the church is sold. We don't want that to happen here. We're hoping that Cardinal Dolan will hear us, really. We're disappointed by the decision to close the church. And Cardinal Dolan wrote back to me when I wrote to him about another issue. He actually wrote back to me. So I haven't lost faith in you, Cardinal Dolan. So please hear us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And next up, we have Jennifer Fiorini. Next up, we have Jennifer Fiorini, who's just going to speak to her experiences as a neighbor.
As a neighbor, hi. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And I want to just make a quick note here that the Father Wendell that I'm talking about in my letter to Dolan has passed away, and he's one of 80 priests that are buried underneath this church, and those priests will have to be moved if they destroy this church. Okay. I've lived in the East Village on 3rd Street right here since 1996. I was baptized Catholic, but raised in the Protestant church in Ohio. For nearly 30 years, Most Holy Redeemer has been as much a part of me as my own home. Though I did not at first know the Mass, I came to church regularly to sit and pray. In 2002, I went through a serious long-term illness for several years. I used to go to the church and talk with Father Wendell, who was extremely kind during this difficult time. I somehow lived, but I lost everything else: money, friends, hope of a career, children, and 8 years of my life. I made it a point to go to the church whenever it was open. Every time I pulled the doors of the church but found them closed, I would jokingly say, "God's closed today." But back then I knew the church would still be there. Tomorrow would come and I would sit in the third pew from the front on the left-hand side and say thank you and ask for forgiveness or guidance. Because the church was closed so much in the past year, I finally came to Mass and sat in the back so I could follow along. I'm asking you, in this letter, Cardinal Dolan, humbly to keep the church open, even part-time, for the many parishioners who love and need it. This church is a rock of my neighborhood, and for the people who live here, it holds the memory of 170 years of marriages, birth, communion, and fellowship. I cannot imagine losing it. It's unthinkable. One of the oldest churches in New York. It has the kind of spectacular beauty that inspires everyone who walks through its doors. Some of those people will become Catholic. I'm asking you to save our church. In conclusion, I would do anything that I could do to make sure it remains. I think and hope that my feelings would be shared by those who are entrusted to love and protect it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. And I have to say, she is doing everything she can. She's running the newsletter account and doing the graphic design. We'll say this more at the end, but if you'd like to be on the list, please email savemostholyredeemer@gmail.com and we will put you there. We'd like to hear next from Peggy Gross, and Doris has her backup. Peggy's a former Nativity parishioner, so she's been through this already as well.
Good afternoon. I don't want to say it's nice to be here because it's not nice that it's necessary. And the other thing I don't love to, on the day we decided that December 7th would be the day for our meeting, it's a day dedicated to the memory of the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941. That day ignited a terrible war, creating many refugees, some of whom came and settled in this community and went to this church. I was just 2 years old when Pearl Harbor was attacked, but I remember the day because of the strong emotional reaction of all the people around me. Fear, anxiety, anger got transmitted to a young kid. But we had a bright spot. The man who was the president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and there was a belief that the government and our leaders would stand firm and with the help of the people prevail over the forces of evil. Today, this December 7, 2025, is a day we have dedicated to saving the Church of the Most Holy Redeemer, a church that has provided its parishioners and this community with a safe haven from the storms of everyday life. Before attending Most Holy Redeemer, I had been a parishioner of Nativity, a church the Archdiocese closed in 2015. Then I learned about the dislocation and disorientation of having my church, my community, taken away, being told to join another church, another community. It isn't easy. It takes quite a bit of time and requires dealing with emotional upheaval like on a forced march. Questioning how things are done, you're not sure if you'll really be welcomed into this new community that has been forged together over many, many years. And there are times you feel not included, left out, simply because you don't know each other. And that is hard. Like displaced people everywhere, refugees from other places, the time and circumstances of a shared threat, the closing of another church, makes coming together and working together, trusting each other, essential. Unlike the America of 1941, it's not possible to believe that our church governance, I'm sorry, Bernie, the Archdiocese and its leaders will take care of us. Too much is done in secret, hidden in the traditional ways of decision-making, making sure that the affected parishioners, us, don't get all the information we need. It seems they don't recognize our pain and sorrow. They don't recognize they're making orphans of us all, and they turn their backs to our entreaties. It leaves me to wonder if this is how they want us to think of the church. Not as a warm and welcoming place, but as a cold and distant one. And so out of this attack on our community, a force is growing. You're a big force here that wants to reclaim its place in the church, to have our voice heard, to retain our spiritual role as messengers of God. Yes, this is a conflict between a community of the faithful and the church's ordained leadership over the way decisions are made in a secretive manner. The closing of churches without due regard to the spiritual, mental, and physical well-being of all the people affected. We need your support and prayers in our effort. Let's all work together to save and reopen Most Holy Redeemer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, baby. Great.
I'd just like to, our former assembly person and newly, freshly sworn in council person, this may be his first public appearance as a council member. Harvey Epstein has joined us. We would like him to go through it.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you all for gathering. So people know I live around the corner for 30 years, and this church has been such a part of my life. Listen to the church bells in the morning, every morning. When my kids were in school, elementary school, they would come over here and draw this church, and seeing families going in and out all the time. It's such a meaningful part of our community. And when this closed, it just didn't close the building, it closed part of all our lives. And so it's our job to talk to folks about it. I met with the Archdiocese last week. I talked to them about the concerns here, not just the concerns of parishioners, but since Andrew's here, about the landmarking concerns as well. And they understood, they heard what we were saying. So we are going to fight as hard as we can to do what best we can to get this building reopened and get people back in, and also deal with the landmarking issue at the same time. This is a community institution, and it is our responsibility collectively to fight for it. And to know that I'm going to fight with you. And this is something that's important to our neighborhood, and that people worship here and come here and live here and are part of here. So know me as an ally in this fight, and we're going to fight to get this reopened soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harry. Anthony, you want to talk up there for a minute? Come on. Introducing Anthony
Sorry.
Feliciano,
Wanna record?
our state commissioner.
You could get it if you want to.
Anthony Feliciano. I'm more than just a state committee person here. I'm born and raised here, but also my wife and I here, Gladys, we were married here. Yeah. Our son was baptized here. He's had his communion, his confirmation here. Ernie was one of his teachers. So we have more than just, for me, it's not just about the politics of what's going on here. It's the community issue, right? It belongs to us. And I just want to say that this brick and mortar is seeping with so much happiness, so much also sorrow. The things that we talk about in this church, it's all coming out of this building, right? And when you take something away from a community, you know, it more than just hurts. It disconnects people. You know, people use the church as a way of connecting with each other. It's not just about the prayer. It's not just about our spiritual healing. And so we've seen plenty of times in this neighborhood, institutions that we care about being taken away from us. But we also have fought back, and we've won plenty of times our institutions. You know, I came from fighting when we got St. Bridget's back, and I was part of that committee. I've been part of China, and we're trying to get that back, right? As a young child being there. And so I just want to say that we're going to need more than just us standing here. We're going to need all of you to be part of the list, to make phone calls, to do what we need to, and grow here more than ever before the people that we need to come in. And I'm glad that Harvey's here, and I appreciate because he understands what this is about for us in our community. But I just want to tell you one, I've seen plenty of what happens in our neighborhood when an institution is lost. It becomes luxury housing. And so we need to be really serious about this. I've seen it with Mount Sinai. I've seen it with other hospitals. Just know that what our city has is a city government, hospitals, and churches own the most land. And it becomes profitable. And it's not me saying anything against the church or the archdiocese. It is clearly what we're seeing here. And I'm going to be honest, we're not going to allow that to happen, are we? No. So, gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to say a few things in English and in Spanish because I think it's important that our community, our parish that's Spanish speaking is here too and present. Nuestra parroquia en español están aquí representando también. So I've been here since when I was 8 years old. I'm from my family, originally from Mexico, but we went to Mary Help a Christian, and that's on 12th Street. That also was shut down and also demolished. So we came on 2nd Street and we came to Most Holy Redeemer. And it's been our home since 1984, 1980, my parents here. Like my husband said, I did all my sacraments, I got married and my kids. But I do want to say that our community has been here, we've been strong. When things were not pretty here, we were here. And at the same time, we celebrate many, many things in community. And the finances, I won't go into a lot of details, but in one of those meetings that I was part of, they have money that has hundreds and thousands of interest making every year. So there is money and money even to support for their retirement. And that was the first time I ever heard about money for us. And I was just wondering, like, then why are they complaining that they can't fix the church or why are they closing it if they have so much money? Para mi parroquia, nosotros estamos aquí, hemos sido una comunidad. Yo he estado aquí desde 1984, tenía yo 8 años. Somos mis papás de México y vamos a la iglesia de María Auxiliadora.
que está en la calle 12. Esa también la derrumbaron y pusieron un edificio tan feo que todavía está ahí. Llegamos aquí y estamos en los 80 y ahora estamos tratando de salvar Santísimo Redentor. Hemos sido una parroquia muy fuerte, hemos estado aquí cuando nadie quería estar aquí y aquí estábamos nosotros. La parroquia, aquí hemos estado, hemos celebrado comunión y al mismo tiempo en muchas reuniones que no sabemos, y en una que yo estuve, hay mucho dinero envuelta, lo que se ha dicho que hay millones de intereses, cada año que se hace de esta iglesia, donde agarraron este dinero de natividad, y no sé por qué no dicen que no tenemos dinero cuando hay dinero. Y vamos a tratar de salvar nuestra iglesia, Santísimo Redentor. Let's say Most Holy Redeemer. Save Most Holy Redeemer.
Save Most Holy Redeemer.
Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One of my favorite couples. I'd like to bring up Max Nilberger to speak to his experience in the German immigrant history of the church.
Not all my experience. I'm not 173 years old. But it has historically been a vibrant church. It was founded by German immigrants. And as the community changed from Germany to ultimately Latino, it continued to serve the primarily working class people that made up the parish. Be it German or Latin American, it celebrated feasts held special by parishioners, but its involvement in the community went beyond that. Back in the day, it included a drum and bugle corps that was very popular in the community. More recently, for many years, we had a Saturday food program that ran from November through April, and it served on an average of 80 to 100 meals each week, and even sometimes as many as 150 meals. Jennifer talked about Father Wendell. I don't think anybody best represented this parish than Father Wendell. He grew up here, altar boy, priest, pastor, but he also contributed in another way too. He administered very forcefully to the AIDS community back when it wasn't popular to do so. And my, what a voice. He would close every midnight mass by singing Most O Holy Night a cappella. And that's when he knew it was Christmas. So here we are. Our door is shuttered since August 31st, but it didn't happen overnight. More recent history. For a number of years, the 9 o'clock mass was the best attended English mass. It was also generated the largest collection amongst those masses. And in 2019, the Holy Redeemer was asked by the Archdiocese to illuminate a mass from our masses, which was 5:30 on Saturdays, 9 a.m., 12:15, and 7 p.m., which was brought over by Nativity when they moved in with us. And I was part of the parish council that met. We discussed this over 3 meetings on which mass to illuminate. And we finally voted on eliminating the 12:15. And part of that was out of respect to Nativity, because they had brought over the 7 p.m. After redemptors left that fall, the Archdiocese has taken over, and with 2 weeks' notice, the 12:15 mass was restored, and that 9 a.m. mass was eliminated. But this church isn't just a building. As mentioned, it was built by German immigrants, but it wasn't just contributing funds. It was built by parishioners who, with whatever skilled trade they had, worked on it, paid in beer and cigarettes. So brick by brick, calloused hand by calloused hand, parishioners built this magnificent church. So closing this church would be a slap in the face of not just the immigrants and the parishioners that are here today, the migrants, and all those who have lived and worshipped here, but it's also those parishioners who built this church. So maybe we're not some part of a vision of the Archdiocese Real Estate Company of New York on what a parish should be. We're not historically a parish made up of suits working in high places. We're people who are the core of what makes New York, New York. Keeping Most Holy Redeemer open is important to the fabric of New York and the respect it needs to hold for working class immigrants and migrants have always been New York. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I'd now like to introduce Richard Moses, the president of the Lower East Side Preservation Initiative, Leicester.
Thank you, Laura. Good afternoon, everybody. As Laura said, I'm Richard Moses with the Lower East Side Preservation Initiative, also known as LESPI. We're in a distressing situation right now, but I think we all agree what we need. And what we need is Holy Redeemer to be opened again for services. We need the Archdiocese to be responsive to the parishioners and to the needs of the community. We need the building to continue to serve as a spiritual beacon for the community and for the entire Lower East Side, which it has been doing for 175 years. We also need the New York City Landmarks Preservation Commission to step up and landmark the building so it can serve also as an architectural beacon for the community, which it's been doing for 175 years. We don't want the building to end up falling to a developer's wrecking ball. And as it was said before, we all know what happens when the buildings come down. So the fight to preserve and reopen Most Holy Redeemer will not be easy. Houses of worship have been closed and demolished around the city for quite some time. But we have to press on. We have to continue to protest, to write letters, to sign petitions, especially the ones that are out there right now. And we need to rally like we're doing today. And we've got to keep on making a lot of noise, as much noise as we can. Are we going to give up?
No.
Absolutely not. Thank you again, everybody, for coming out and for your work on this. And let's keep up the fight for doing the right thing here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. And now we have Andrew Berman, the Executive Director of Village Preservation.
Thank you so much, Laura. And thank you, everybody, for turning out today, standing out here in the cold to save a place that you believe in, that not only our neighborhood, but this city would be poorer for if we lost it. I can't imagine walking down this street, coming from Avenue A, seeing that great tower as I have my entire life, not seeing that as part of what makes up the East Village. And it's not just me, it's not just all of us, it's people for the last 175 years that have looked upon this building as a beacon, as a symbol of immigrants coming to this country, starting anew, bringing their culture, making this country a richer place for people from all parts of the world who contributed to the great melting pot that is New York and America, to community, to spirituality. There's so many things that are of such significance that took place here, whether it was the introduction of the Gregorian chants in services, to the tragic fire that took place at the school that still stands connected to the church behind us, that forever changed laws in our city in order to make sure that school children would be safe. That's part of the legacy of this building. And that's why in New York City, after generations and generations of losing our great landmarks, whether it was Penn Station or the Singer Building or all these other places that we regret that we can't still look at today, we passed a landmarks law. And we said, you know what? It's in the public's interest to protect these places that tell our story, that are part of our history. But unfortunately, and by the way, let me just say this, Village Preservation, we're working with the East Village Community Coalition and LESPI, spearheading this campaign to get the city to landmark this incredible building, which looking at it, you would say, how could it not be landmarked already? But the fact of the matter is that you need to have a mayor who believes that sites like this should be saved and preserved. Our outgoing mayor, unfortunately, has done less in terms of landmark designation and preserving our city's history than any mayor in the history of the landmarks law. We have a new mayor coming in. I am hopeful that he will be more amenable and more open to saving sites like this. Can I actually ask folks to just move in a little bit so we can make sure the ambulance can get through? Thank you. So towards that end, everybody hold up your signs that you have here. These are not just a message to the people on the street. There's a QR code on here. I want everybody to take this with you, scan that QR code, or go to the web address, the URL that's at the lower right-hand corner. That will take you to a web page where you can send a message to the city's Landmarks Preservation Commission and to our incoming mayor saying, I want Most Holy Redeemer Church landmarked. This is why we have landmark designations in New York City, because of buildings like this, because of histories like this, because this is who we are, and we are poorer for losing places like this. And let me, you don't need to be reminded of this, but once it's gone forever. You can't get it back. We have to put everything into making sure that this building does not disappear, and hopefully continuing on as a church, serving this community and all of the people who've invested so much of their lives in it. So please do send those letters, work with the parishioners who are working within the church structure to try to make sure that the church stays open. I don't want to wake up one day and see that tower gone and luxury condos or something else much less worthwhile going up on this site. Let's make sure that never, ever happens. Thank you very much.
You want to come back up for a minute? You want to just share this call to action, or?
Sí, solo para dejarles saber que este letrerito que hemos distribuido, que no solo es un letrero para que todo el mundo sepa que queremos salvar a Most Holy Redeemer, pero aquí hay un QR code que pueden usar para escribirle una carta al asambleísta y al alcalde y al Landmarks Preservation Commission, dejándoles saber que deberían preservar este edificio como un monumento histórico. Gracias.
Thank you. Sir, can I ask you to come stand next to me with your beautiful sign? Look at this.
Amazing. Go to the top.
This is our neighborhood, right? Amazing creative people. So I want to say thank you to the 90 people who came out here today on the Sunday afternoon. It's really amazing. This is much more than a job to me. This is my neighborhood, and since they knocked down Mary Help of Christians, this is my church as well. So I just want to repeat that the Archdiocese of New York, profiting from the sale of historic neighborhood churches, has become so commonplace that it's no longer a news story. It's dog bites man. The difference here is that these parishioners are working with canon law to do something, to fight back against this injustice, and they're working with the preservation organizations to get the church landmarked and recognized on its merits. We want to make this politically a terrible idea to close this church, and a wonderful idea to keep it for the community. And we need all of your help. So there is an Instagram account, there's a Save Most Holy Redeemer Historic Church Facebook group, there's the Village Preservation Landmarking Petition, and there's a letter to Cardinal Dolan that anyone can sign on at change.org. You can, if you want to be on the email list, go to, just email SaveMostHolyRedeemer@gmail.com and say, I would like to be on your list, and we will add you, and we'll keep you informed on what's going on. Thank you again so much for being here. Thank you to the 9th Precinct, who is here. They're on the DL, but they're here. And to Evie Grieve, who has covered this, every moment of this from the beginning, and that coverage puts us out to other news organizations who are reaching out to us. This story will not go unheard, and we will not go unnoticed, and we will not go away quietly. Thank you. Save Most Holy Redeemer.
Coffees and cookies over there. Coffees and cookies.
Oh, that's so sweet of her. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.